This is Colin O'Keefe here for LXBN TV. Election day has come and gone, with results bound to reshape a number of different laws, but one area impacted quite a bit in places all across the country was wage and hour law. Joining me now to explain the changes and the results that could shape future ones is attorney Doug Haas. He's with Franczek Radelet, an author on the firm's blog, Wage and Hour Insights. Doug, you wrote on a couple different issues, again, impacted by Election Day, one of those being minimum wage. How did that fare on Election Day?
Well, as you might expect, workers tend to like to vote for more minimum wage, more paid sick leave, and that's exactly what happened in this election as in others. In the 4 states where there was a binding referendum, in Arkansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, and Alaska, all 4 states approved the minimum wage increases by very wide margins. And then there was a 5th state, Illinois, where I'm sitting right now, that had a non-binding referendum that also passed by very wide margins, although it doesn't, unlike the other 4 states, minimum wage to increase at all.
I see. And then second, the other big wage and hour issue that's been in the news a lot recently is paid sick leave, and I understand that also was a big winner on Election Day. So how did that look? Where did that pass? What are the results on that front?
Well, the biggest news is that the state of Massachusetts approved a referendum for paid sick leave for all employers, and that's both large and small employers. For large employers, 11 employees and larger, they now have to provide paid sick leave. For smaller employers, 10 employees or under, they still have to provide the leave. It just doesn't have to be paid. Massachusetts becomes the 3rd state, joining Connecticut and California, to provide a statewide paid leave benefit. And then in addition to that, several different municipalities also provided paid sick leave through referendums. The city of as well as 2 more cities in New Jersey. Several had already done it, kind of the city council type level, but the cities of Montclair and Trenton both approved paid sick leave ordinances as well.
I see. And then while voters did back these measures, this paid sick leave and then minimum wage, voters also backed, of course, the big news, a Republican-controlled Senate, which, compared to those first 2 things, some people found a little bit interesting. So with that in mind, what might a Republican Senate mean for wage and hour law? Might we see some changes in policy going forward?
Well, as you may also know, the Department of Labor earlier this year announced, pursuant to an executive order from President Obama, that they're going to be rewriting the white-collar exemptions and some of the other regulations under the Federal Fair Labor Standards Act. And a Republican Senate will make it easier for the House and Senate to sort of tie up that regulatory agenda, at least to some extent. However, given some of the states that have approved the minimum wage increases, being quite red states as that goes, I really don't think that we'll see the Senate or the House try to take action to curtail those benefits, or probably not to take any action whatsoever with setting a minimum wage. I think it's a rail that they won't want to touch in the run-up to the 2016 elections.
Absolutely, absolutely. People are putting a lot of stock into the change in hands of the Senate, but as you mentioned, it's going to be interesting to watch because it might not mean as many changes as people think on at least the wage and hour front. Once again, that was Doug Haas of Franczek Radelet. For more of his insight on this subject and others in the wage and hour space, be sure to check out wagehour-insights.com. It's really one of the very best blogs in the area. Thanks for joining me today, Doug.
Thanks, Colin.